Tarn, welcome to the Global CIO event. I'm wondering if you would just introduce yourself and your responsibility.
Sure. No, good morning, and it's great to connect again. Tarn Shant, I head transformation and governance for iQor. It's been an interesting journey given digital transformation is happening at a pretty fast pace after COVID. So it's just an amazing role to be in, and the organization is evolving on a daily basis. I've been with the organization for about 13 years now, and I roll up into the CDO, our Chief Digital Officer in iQor.
Brilliant. Interested that you used that word transformation, Tarn. So can you tell me, first of all, a little bit about how you've transformed the management of your IT operations during the pandemic, and indeed what role ThinScale has played in that?
Sure. So, we have a team of people who actually monitor geo events that are going on. So at pretty early stage in Feb, I think, we started getting these feelers about the pandemic, and we started having management meetings around it. We had a pretty decent and a robust work at home solution, which was deployed for a small set of users and wasn't scaled up too much. But we had the base architecture in place. So we were confident that we had to go that route. There's technology in place that we can start working towards. Now, obviously, I'm sure none of us imagined what is going to happen next. And that's when in March, we started seeing our offices getting shut down by the governments. And we started having management meetings, I think thrice a day for 2 hours each, literally start in the morning, afternoon, and evening. And the good part is that all the teams came together, right? Everybody had one goal, which is to make sure that we can get our production and business back up to, at least some decent levels where we could service our customers. And our clients were really looking up to us and saying, hey, can you help us in this situation? So the digital journey, I would say, pretty much started that very day, right? When we had, I think, 7 of our sites in Philippines shut down pretty much in a 48-hour notice. And that's when the teams came together from us building, special lists to see how to target agents, from us trying to manage what inventory do we have within our offices, from us trying to understand what backend systems we need to scale. So we literally had different teams assigned for different work streams that were carved out, so that there are leaders for each of the work streams and helping business in terms of communication and trying to get the work done in the back end. And at that stage, we did start looking at a BYOD solution. And to be honest, I think in the first few weeks, because it was so chaotic, the idea was to first say, hey, what do we have and how can we get people up and running? And in that, we said, okay, let's use our own technology. Luckily, we are a complete virtualized shop. So Thin Client is a small endpoint that agents would use in the office. We reconfigured those Thin Clients to have secure VPN connections and built kits literally on the floor where the operations team, the admin guys, the security guys, the IT guys, everybody was focused on building these kits where agents would just pick up a kit and take it home and plug it in. So that journey was, some of it is almost a haze for me still because it happened so quickly and it feels like a dream. But if I look back today, I think we are extremely proud of what iQor was able to achieve for our customers. And many of our clients came back and said, hey, the pace at which you were able to bring the business back up and running, and almost up to, I would say, 75% of our agents were up and running in 3 weeks. They were, we got kudos all across the industry from most of our clients. Some of the clients in that journey themselves were a little hesitant about work at home. So it took time for us to convince their security teams. So we had that open dialogue with them to say, hey, what are we doing? How are we protecting that environment? How is the agent experience going to be? And those are very natural questions. You want to make sure that the end customers are still getting the same service, if not at a higher notch. And that's when, my COO on the call said, hey, now we are stuck where we don't even have access to our offices. What's our plan B for that? And we started looking at different vendors and options. We looked at a couple of MDM solutions. We also worked with our engineering teams to look at USB boot ups and other things. But everything had logistics, or there was a lot of dependency on the end point. That being the OS, the laptop, the hardware, the age of the laptop. And as you know, I think Windows 7 was kind of decommed, but we saw a lot many people still had Windows 7, which was becoming a challenging piece for some of our customers who are pretty critical about security.
Yeah.
And we came across a ThinScale, and I think pretty much when I opened that website, I was like, oh, I need to review this system, and I need to review it quickly. So we went through our security review process. We had the demos. It seemed like a complete fit for us. We did a quick POC. The team was able to turn it around with your guys. I think in 48 hours we had 6 to 7 devices rolled up. Even before the contracting and the legal work was happening, we were evaluating the solution, and that's when we started scaling ThinScale, and that's where we now had to go out and survey our employees to check how many of them have laptops, how many of them are compatible, and that's the journey. And it's almost what, as you mentioned, good 16 odd months, and time has just flown past by, and ThinScale has become a pretty integral part of our ecosystem when it comes to especially the BYOD platform. We completely trust it, and most of our clients are extremely happy with what we were able to give them from a security posture, and make sure that everybody sleeps well in the night, knowing that their data is still protected, and we can ramp up at a pretty quick scale.
And Tarn, just sort of pressing in on that, if you sort of look pre that March timeframe, sort of pre ThinScale, and now you've had it implemented for say 16 months or so, and so post that timeframe, what would you see as the major differences in terms of your operation beforehand and now?
Yeah, so honestly, operations is completely, it's a complete shift in the way we used to do things, right? And there are tons of small things that I can talk about, but largely making sure that we can still support our agents. Because at the end of the day, listen, if an agent is not happy and is not productive, we don't have a business, right? So our key focus has been to make sure that our agents have the right tools. We are able to collaborate with them. We are able to help them with technology issues. And at the same time, we have to make sure that they get the hours that they have scheduled for, because they're running their families. So they need to know that iQor can give them a stable workplace for them to be able to continue working and performing. So operationally, I think a lot of front-end processes have changed on how we engage with our agents. We pretty much have an omni-channel offering for our agents to be able to get back to technology, from chat to be able to call into a hotline to Zoom onboarding calls that happen when we hire people in batch. But the other big shift, and that's thanks to ThinScale, that now we are able to hire a segment of people that we wouldn't have been able to in the past, right? And we'll talk more about it as we go through, but our reach within different geos has increased a lot. Our ability to onboard and get a person hired and start training, that whole piece has reduced drastically. And then at the same time, the complexity has reduced a lot, right? We've clearly focused towards partnering with companies who are on the digital forefront, because end of the day, if I can cut the manual pieces of our, the overall workflow, I'm able to deliver at a much faster clip. And many of our customers are looking for that, right? I have few examples where some of new clients from our pipeline came in and said, hey, you can get the business if you can stand up 100 agents in the next 72 hours, right? And we were able to do that. And largely because we were able to build an extremely strong work at home platform and a BYOD solution. The mix of two is what made sure that we could deliver for our customers. Yeah, and I'm happy to go into any details on any of the specific solutions that we deployed that might help.
Very good. So I think you probably already touched on some of the piece. I was next going to ask you was what impact has it had on talent acquisition? But it sounds to me as though you've pretty much tackled all of that in the answers you've just given me.
Just to add there, right? Initially, we started with the model of considering our call center as a hub. So when we were looking for talent, it was in the 30 to 45-minute range from a travel standpoint, right? We had to make sure that agents, given the local laws in each country, were still able to get to our office to, to just do the hiring process, get their equipment, so on and so forth. As soon as we started, reaching a tipping point where we said, okay, now we are almost running out of our own hardware. How do we expand it further? And that's where in Q4, which is an extremely critical time for our business and for our clients, we were able to ramp in geos, which we've never hired before, right? It was pretty simple screening process that we deployed. Hey, do you have a laptop? If so, run this small utility, send us the results. We will validate that it meets our requirements. And then the normal hiring process kicks in, right? We would have, and just to help and support the agents, though I think the process of loading ThinScale is largely, I would say, painless. And anybody who's launched apps or deployed simple solutions on their laptop is able to do it, even with very little tech knowledge. But what we did is, on day one, on the side, the HR team would be onboarding and doing the paperwork and the normal things. And we would have an open bridge with technology folks, just helping agents, answer their questions. Look at antivirus. Some of them had laptops where the hardware was a little old. So helping them basically configure the solution. So overall, from a hiring standpoint, it was a massive win for us because one, we got talent which we might not have ever hired in the past, right? Secondly, we were able to scale at a very, very short notice. So this whole timeline of somebody getting hired, then coming to the office, or us trying to courier a kit to them completely was something that we could wipe out from the turnaround times, and in turn deliver at a faster pace, which I think is one of the key reasons why ThinScale and BYOD shines within the environment.
Very good, very good. So what kind of product lead times are you experiencing, Tarn? And is that impacting the approach that you're taking to scaling, as in, is it increasing the amount of BYOD? You sort of alluded to it in earlier answer where you were talking about winning contracts because of the speed of scaling of agents. Are you seeing product lead times having an impact in leading customers more in that direction?
Yeah, so I think there are two things. One is the product lead time, and as you know, there's a massive chip backlog, and
yes,
I would in the past easily get an endpoint in 4 weeks, right? Now 8 weeks is minimum, and that also is not confirmed, right? We recently placed an order, and it took almost 12 weeks for us to get the equipment. So there is no way for us to plan that far ahead. Yes. And at the same time, I don't want to be sitting with a lot of inventory and not having a place to use for it, right?
Yes.
So I think the biggest help, obviously, BYOD does is it helps me manage my inventory in a much more, I would say, strategic manner.
Yes.
Where I want to, and there are agents, right? Let's be honest, we are in countries where it's not very common that everybody has a personal laptop, and we don't realize that, right?
Yes.
So there is a population that we still need to cater and service. Yes. And we will continue to focus on trying to work towards the hardware solutions that we have. But then there is definitely a population that is readily available, and they have an endpoint a laptop that works really well and is on Windows 10 and meets our security needs. Making sure that we predict and plan is something which our procurement team is doing to the best of their abilities. But at the same time, we don't want to be, spending too much money. And the second piece, which I said, right, the shipment delays are a problem that we need to solve. But at the same time, the other big thing is that a lot of our hiring is seasonal, right? We ramp up, we ramp down, depending on the customer needs. So for me, think about it, right? If somebody is being hired for 3 months, now I need to plan to send them a iQor kit and then have reverse logistics in place to get that kit back. There is a chance that 10% of our equipment will never come back, right? And that's why we have dummy clients that even if we are not able to recover the equipment or recover it in a timely fashion, we can manage long term. But for these small spurts of hiring where we have to hire thousands of agents for 3 months and then go down, that's where BYOD plays an important and a very integral role for us, right? Because then I don't need to worry about, okay, when the agent is done after 3 months, how do I recover the equipment? How do I get the asset back? How do I manage and plan for that? So those are two things I think which will continue to drive us to focus heavily towards BYOD wherever we can.
Some people, some customers of yours, I would imagine, and certainly it happens, it comes across to me, are concerned about the security of BYOD because it's a personally owned device. What has given you the confidence to use BYOD and be able to assure your customers about the security of that?
We did a detailed security review, and that's part of our process.
Sure.
We do not partner with anybody if we feel that this is not a posture that we can stand in front of our clients and be proud of. So ThinScale very early had all those features and functionality. Then we went through in-depth analysis to make sure. And I'll be honest, coming from an IT operations background, I like to test solutions myself. And I launched BYOD ThinScale on my own laptop just to see, hey, do these things work? Can I beat the system? Can I actually copy paste? And it did pass my simple litmus test, which I would do for any software. But at the same time, I think our security teams were pretty happy that some of the key things that we need to keep in mind, which is antivirus is updated, the laptop is patched from any vulnerabilities, the agent doesn't have the ability to copy paste. All those are basics that we said that the product needs to have. The other thing is, because the way the solution is architected by your team, it completely removes the agent's ability to do anything else on their personal device till the time they're logged out. On top of that, we have a layer of, obviously VPN. And then because we are a pretty heavy virtual shop, so most of these agents are using ThinScale to really connect into our secure data centers. So not only do we have, ThinScale as a security posture, but we also have VPN. And then on top of that, we have our VMware solution, which is highly encrypted and secure. So I think we have different layers of security built in, which makes me feel pretty comfortable and confident. And as an organization, iQor always is looking to improve security because that's an area which everybody is worried about. It's on the forefront. We are looking at a couple of different digital solutions in the AI and ML space, where we plan to use cameras to monitor our agents after their consent, and make sure that we have a clean desk policy. There is nobody else, standing in the area, and the work area is pretty much similar from a compliance standpoint when it comes to them working in the office. So security is paramount for iQor, and we'll continue to focus and invest in that area.
And what has been the business impact of moving work at home, of focusing on work at home and focusing on your work at home solutions? What impact has that had on your business?
The number one impact is that we are still here as an organization and
Yes.
doing well.
Yeah.
We've onboarded, I think, 6 to 7 new logos in the
Yeah.
organization over the last 1 year. The sales team has done a fantabulous job of showcasing our technology and our architecture and how we can scale.
Yeah.
So on the BYOD front, I think I've mentioned it a couple of times, right?
Sure.
It helped us get into geos. It helped us get into talent pools that weren't, we were never going to access in the past. It has helped us to ramp at a faster pace than the traditional solutions. So I think these key things have made sure that we can service our customers and service our end customers, in turn making sure that our clients are happy with us and keep granting us more business and help us expand in that area. So it's been a win-win for us and our clients, and we are extremely proud that we were able to step up for our clients when they needed us the most.
And how is all of your, when you look not just at thin scale, but all the different aspects of business transformation that you've done over the course of the last sort of 14 months, how has that enabled you to better serve your customers?
Digital transformation is a big word, and everybody has their own understanding on how to kind of understand this area. But we were already on that journey. What COVID did, or what this event has done for us, is that we've been able to crunch what I think we would have done in 3 to 4 years in a very small period of 12 months, right?
Yeah.
We've been able to build collaboration suites. We've been able to tie our agents. We've improved our hiring process and policies. So it's helped us focus on the initiatives that were in the pipeline, but might not have got the same amount of resources and traction if this event wouldn't have happened. We also feel that many other companies and SaaS solutions in this area have suddenly popped up, right? Because there is a lot of new innovation happening, because everybody understands that this is an area which is here to stay, and people want to grow in it, people want to build their confidence in it. So I'm seeing a lot of these small, unique organizations solving different solutions, which in turn, what we are trying to do as an organization, we are always looking at, build versus buy kind of discussion. So wherever we feel that there's a technology which can help our customers, our internal agents be more productive, we are trying to partner with them and build this whole ecosystem. I would say the iQor digital platform, which will not only just service the customer from being able to answer calls, but take it to the next level of hiring, scaling, productivity, knowledge management, collaboration, all these few things that we can kind of bundle into a package and try and be industry leaders in this space. So it's been extremely fulfilling. It's been challenging, but at the same time, when you see those solutions deliver results and you see happy customers, happy agents, I think there is no better win for all of us at iQor here.
Very good. So Tarn, I'm conscious that some of the folks who might be watching our conversation, might not be as familiar with iQor. They might be working with some other people. I wanted to give you an opportunity to express to them what particularly are the potential benefits of partnering with you. What would you want to sort of say to them to encourage them to consider you as part of their solution when they come to outsource?
We are on this tech forefront within the company, that we are just not a call center, but we want to bring solutions for our clients. We want to help them transform their customer journeys. So the focus is clearly, how do we help our partners, our clients, to be better able to service their customers and improve their NPS? We are a BPO, but I would say we are a tech-enabled BPO, which is working extremely diligently, and the team is focused from the CEO to CDO to all the technology people to bring in solutions for our customers that can help them deflect portion of their calls to non-agents and using different technologies. At the same time, when these calls are answered, we are trying to make sure that our agents have the technical tools and the ability to try and perform at the highest levels. We are an extremely competitive organization when it comes to performance, and we want to make sure that the employees we hire are going to deliver at a pretty high standard. So from operations to technology, I think within our DNA, performance is key, and we want to make sure that our clients are happy with what we are delivering for them, so that they keep on bringing in more and more business for us, so we can expand with them. I think the next 2 years are extremely critical for us, because we are trying to stay at pace or even be on the cutting edge when it comes to digital solutions. And I think the team is ready for the next chapter, as I would call it, to try and be market leaders in this space.
And I think, Tom, what I would just add to that is, we're fortunate to work with many of the different operations in this industry, and we can clearly see that those who partner closely with us really get the most out of our technology. And I must say, I think you stand out as a company that has really chosen to partner closely with us, and we can see how the use of our technology with your team operates extremely well. And I think that's, if one mirrors that across the other technologies that you must use, that would be a piece that I would see would be something that would really advance the case well. So another question I had for you, Tarn, was what was the feedback from your agents in terms of using this approach, using BYOD and using ThinScale?
So I think we learned a lot in the initial phase, right? When we started deploying, because it was still a lot chaotic. Everybody was still trying to make sure agents are up and running. So some of the processes might have been missing in the front. We spent a lot of time with our training teams to try and sit on those calls and see how that agent onboarding process is going on ThinScale. And they were able to help us with simple videos that then we pushed out to our new hires to say, hey, before you are going to join us on day one, go through these small videos so that you understand what that experience will look like. What are the basic things you need to go? We had pretty lengthy documents upfront with screenshots, but then we realized that, these have become too lengthy and too cumbersome for our agents, right? So from a journey, we evolved from us trying to crisp and clean our documentation, from us trying to build small video spurts which can be played and an agent can come up to the speed. So I think those things have helped a lot. And now what we've started doing is, on a monthly basis, we take feedback from our agents, right? And it's not just BYOD agents, but agents in general, right? And then we try and use behind the scenes to try and carve out the data to say, okay, how many of the BYOD agents are happy? How many of the on-prem agents? So I'm not seeing any difference in the comfort level, the confidence that agents are showing within the organization from a technology standpoint, and from how they feel they are being served and helped by their supervisors. So I think that experience is pretty much common across, which tells me that the BYOD solution is not deteriorating the agent experience at all. In all reality, there are some agents who are very thankful because of this technology. They have a job today, right? Because in the past, as I said, these are the agents who were not the target segment for us because they were not closer to our offices. So those agents are extremely humble and grateful that they have an opportunity to work in these tough times where everybody wants to make sure that they're able to deliver for their families. So, and from an implementation standpoint, there is a mixed batch, because you have a segment of agents who might not be tech savvy, but are great customer service reps, right? So they need to be handheld a little bit. But anybody who is, with basic technology on how to do things on a laptop, as I said, most of our agents, as you know, are in a younger area. So people play a lot of video games and are able to, they are much more technology savvy. So they are pretty happy with the experience overall, not only just the BYOD experience, but all the changes we've made on the forefront from a hiring standpoint, the whole digitization of that process, and then launching BYOD and being able to work. It becomes a whole seamless effort for them to be productive from day one.
Brilliant.
So
Brilliant.
Long story short, I think great feedback. There are areas we are still working on in trying to further automate the process and make it much easier. And I think that's a continuous improvement journey that we will, we will keep on doing and keep on getting feedback from our agents to make sure that they are happy and are able to be successful at the workplace.
Very good. And what has it been like from a support point of view, Tarn, supporting the BYOD work at home model? How has that worked for you?
It's no different, right? And end of the day, I think by deploying SRW, we have eliminated the other issues that came along with the other solutions that we were testing. And to be frank with you, Andrew, the reason we chose InScale and we chose it that quick is that within our R&D, we were testing quite a few solutions, and we could see that the solution might work from a security and architecture standpoint, but the supportability long-term and making sure that the agent is able to launch it was a problem area, right? And that's where we put a stop to that and said, hey, this is, even if security and architecture works and the solution works, but if you're not able to support our agents, not able to make sure that they can install this in 30 minutes and be up and running, it's going to be a lot of lost productivity and unhappy employees. And that's why I think from a support standpoint, once the initial piece is done, right, they have it launched, they are able to work on day one. After that, really, there is no support, to be very honest with you, unless, the agent calls and says, hey, I am moving laptops because, I have upgraded myself. So there are smaller support areas that we need to work on there. But once this software is completely launched, it's doing what it needs to do. Agents have got used to how to kind of launch it and work through it. The support needs are very, very minimal, right? And that's the beauty of both the solutions that we have deployed. Within our architecture guidelines, we always have, I tell my technology guys, right, that don't look at it from just a technology angle. See how easy it should be for the end user to be able to use that technology. Because if you make it cumbersome, ultimately people are going to get, disappointed and stop using it, right? All that hard work, thought process needs to be put up front to make sure that we don't have to add lots of people on our support side because that's not how we like to operate, right? What is the advantage of saying, hey, we are on the digital forefront, but we can't even do help our internal employees to be digitally more savvy and give them tools that can help them perform. So it's a clear focus from the team, and support has been extremely easy to manage, especially once they are launched on day one. After that, it's as I said, it's minimal.
How easy have you found it to find people who are willing to work with their own PC when you're recruiting people around the globe, as you've got a very global operation?
Extremely easy, right? Within our hiring process itself, we've added these questions where we ask them upfront, do you have a laptop that, that is with A, B, C, D configurations? And we gather that information, even if that person is going to be hired to work in office, or even if we are going to give them an iQor kit, that question has become more like a data collection activity, right? So that tomorrow we wake up and suddenly we hear that a region or a country is shutting down. We have all that information. We don't need to go back to the agent. We can simply start saying, hey, out of the 200 agents who need to move tomorrow morning, 100 of them have a BYOD solution that can be deployed. Let's go after them. So we have built this entire communication process where people get text messages automated emails. All they have to do is yes, accept, and then the process just kicks in, and we take them through it, and they become BYOD agents overnight. So yeah, that's largely what we've been doing.
Very good. So that becomes part of your business continuity solution, effectively.
Pretty much. I think you know, business continuity plus our ability to hire, and in some cases this is more like a perk also, right? We've got agents who are tenured, who we know have been performing for years together at a very high pace. In the long run, what I see is that many of these agents will move to work at home, and and some of them will end up on a BYOD solution. So it is helping us with our BCP planning. It's helping us with making sure that we are able to give it as a added benefit for our employees to be able to work from home on their own devices.
Very good. Finally, Tarn, what advice would you give to others on how to transform their operations to a work at home distributed model?
I think in today's world, for work at home, having a great and a strong, stable internet connection is a paramount, right? That's the basic need. And we were shocked, right? In some of the geos, we thought that will be challenging, but the infrastructure over time has improved a lot. And many of these countries, their large, telecom providers are also increasing their backbones and, building the infrastructure to support this, because they understand this is here to stay. This is not going away anytime soon. So I think the key here would be to map out your process as is, what it is today, and try and understand how work at home and BYOD can, what are the areas where you need to improve the digital innovation, right? Again, I will keep saying the digital innovation piece is not just for our customers. It's for our internal employees also. Because if I can use these digital tools for them to be able to, be more productive, come up the speed from a training standpoint, and have better customer experience, it's a win-win for all of us, right? The critical piece here is going to be reimagine your hiring process, because that's where most of the challenges are for companies of our size, which are scaling at a very, very high pace, right? The other big piece would be, I think, one big thing which can take us backwards is security, right? We need to focus as an organization on security to make sure that our clients are very comfortable, because end of the day, data is everything today. So if we can protect our clients' data and make sure and actually demonstrate that we have the tools and the ability to monitor these things, more and more clients will get comfortable with this. And over time, you will see this scale further within your organization. So I would say it's important to understand your hiring process. It's extremely important to remain pretty cautious about security and how you are developing tools around security and how you manage and measure yourself against it. And the other would be, how do you improve collaboration? We saw a spike in productivity as we moved towards work at home. And now it is plateaued where the productivity levels are similar to on-prem. I think we have an opportunity here as organizations to make sure that we can improve productivity, because my final vision or view would be that how do we get a secure work at home solution, which is where the agent is more productive? We have to find tools to be able to collaborate more often with agents. I think agents want that touch and feel still there.
Yeah.
There are so many technologies out there, right? We've got Adobe, we've got Zoom, we've got Teams, we've got so many tools that these organizations can now use to build these collaboration suites within their frontline staff, and have that touch and feel which is just like on-prem. If you guys can figure out how to solve for that, security, and the hiring front-end onboarding challenges, I think any organization can be successful in this area. And don't be scared, right? We are in a low margin business, so we tend to by default move towards build versus buy, but that might not be the right answer all the time, right? You got to partner with industry leaders to be able to, buy solutions which are on the forefront and cutting edge. And over time, you will realize the value of it. It might sound a little bit of a hefty cost upfront, but the added benefits of you being able to hire in new geos, you being able to retain employees, and you being able to manage the challenges of equipment not getting delivered for 12 to 18 weeks. If you just add those benefits, some of these buy solutions can really, really add a lot of value for an organization. So those are a few tips I would give to any of my counterparts and people listening in, that don't be shy in looking out for technologies that can help you grow at a rapid pace.
Brilliant, Tarn. Thank you so much. It's been lovely to talk to you as always. Really appreciated your wisdom and your input. And I'm sure everybody who's listening will be very grateful for you taking the time out and sharing your experience and your perspective on this significant time of transformation and change.
Again, thank you, Andrew. It's been a great partnership, and I'm happy that we are able to share some of our wins and knowledge over time. I've realized one thing in this industry, right? People think there's a lot of competition and everybody has a secret sauce. I believe in sharing, because the more you share, the more information you get back from people, and people are open about their challenges. Yeah. So I'm pretty open in sharing my personal experience on this journey, and I'm happy to, if anybody wants to reach out ever to talk about how they can improve. End of the day, the focus is to have happy customers, happy partners, and I'll do whatever it takes to make that happen.